The presentation is over. Feel free to engage in whatever level you're comfortable, camera on, camera off, sound, text, whatever. Scheherazade is always happy to engage with people, answer questions. She has lots of knowledge and she's happy to share. So
I hope everybody's doing well today. I know some of us are just starting our days and some of us are okay. I was like, what is the white screen? Okay, so a little bit about me for those who are just joining today. I am based in Miami. I am a figurative painter and illustrator. So I show my work in galleries in the US, in Florida, and then also outside, so internationally as well. I am dedicated. So I did the Atlantic Center for the Arts just recently. I have just received a grant from BFI. Charcoal has been the medium that taught me how to start working in every capacity. So I was doing charcoal paintings and like graphite drawings to get started in painting. They taught me a lot about value. They taught me a lot about structure. And currently I'm reintegrating charcoal. So I always start with shapes. And this specific class is all about shapes. So far we've done contour line. So we kind of went through the 5 design elements. And 2 weeks ago, we did the figure drawing course where I had you guys do gesture drawings and I had us do a lot of development. Always make contact with your subject. Memory, imagination, your senses of touch and taste and smell are all vital to an art practice. So the highest point, the lowest point, the furthest left, and the furthest right. So really just the cardinal points of additional points are added, each of which refer back to the initial 4. This sculpture of Michelangelo and David, sculpture by Michelangelo of David. People have done is break this down into 4 points. So the highest point, which is at the top of the head, both right next to each other. So they kind of create like more of an acute triangle. And yeah, you could take these 4 essential points and keep building on them until you have a very complex structure, such as this guy. For whatever reason, this doesn't let me go back either. Things into very simple forms. So that way a computer can understand it. But alternatively, we're not going to be using human figures for this. That would be a totally different class. We'd have a lot more built up foundation for that. But say I'm just focusing on the left side of this box. Do you see how that one line carries all the way up into this structure here? So today, I want to just jump straight in. We'll be using a sketch pad. We'll need roughly 5 sheets of paper. If you want to do more, you absolutely can. And tape is one thing that should also be on this list as optional, but eraser is optional. Essentially using the form of the human skull. I have a plastic replica that I usually do my full-length drawing classes with, and I am creating a small replica of it. I mean, it's not perfect. There is nothing about this assignment that is aimed for perfection. It's really just to create a form that we can use to reference and draw with. So here you see me doing my best with that paper skull form. So I have all of my classes start with this. I don't even really let my students work on an actual human skull until they've demonstrated that they understand the shapes. Really, the goal is to keep people away from going into the usual trappings of.
And a reminder, you can turn on your mics and talk and engage. It helps.
Now I still can't see myself. Okay, perfect. Trader Joe's bags, Whole Foods usually gives paper bags, stuff like that.
I just need a bit of clarification. Are we making a skull or just making a...
So this is probably what I'm gonna try and turn off my blurring. I can't, I think everybody else has their videos off, but really it's truly just a ball. So we're going to do 3 single-minute drawings, just really quick drawings of the paper ball that we have set out.
we're getting storms and rain here. You are frozen, Shaherzad.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you're getting them, I'm also getting them. We're on the same strip. All right, I'm gonna go back to sharing my screen. Can everybody hear me? I think some people came into that one a little bit later, so we'll give that another.
To guide you along your way. Thank you for joining us.
What we're doing right now is essentially we all made a paper bag sculpture. It's truly just a ball. So if you have any kind of leftover mail, if you want to use a paper from your sketchbook, feel free. You really just have to take the ruler and go like this. You're just kind of going back and forth. You're doing whatever you can to make sure you keep getting these straight lines on your drawing. So whatever it takes, just now hitting the 3-minute mark. So if we can put our pencils down. Straight line inspection is another aspect of contour line drawing. This is what we did in the final gesture just now, to tune and look for shapes when you're drawing. It is essentially a contour drawing where every curve or change in the subject form is beginning with a straight line. Okay, so for this next exercise, we'll be using an entire sheet, and I want us to draw for 15 minutes, just this paper ball, nothing else. Actually, let's go. We can just start. All right, I'm going to go ahead and set my timer for 15 minutes. I'm spending a lot of time looking just at the paper ball. I do look at my sketchbook, but I'm not looking at it so much to the point where I'm like trying to perfectly correct it into the shape of what I'm doing. I'll do that as I continue my drawing. So this is, again, a very observational class. I want you to do a lot of focusing on your subject. I think relying on your senses of how things exist in space is very important into the end of the 15 minutes. So right now we're at 3 minutes and 30 seconds. There are 5 of those. So, and start to define what the whole shape looks like. So that way you can spend time developing the details. Spend the rest of the half developing that. So that way you can again focus on the details. All right, so we are at the 10-minute mark. So keep going. We've got about 5 minutes left. I think I would still like to do about a 3-minute gesture drawing to start off with. So we're going to use a freehand for this one because we're going to go back to the gesture drawing. So it's just a 3-minute gesture using, you don't have to use the ruler for this. All right, so we have just finished that portion. I do still want to go to the last point. So finally, I want you to refine the drawing with a very light shade of, well, that's supposed to say find. I don't think we're funding any tones, but we're looking for the, also if you want to go ahead and add the shadow of where the paper ball is sitting on your paper. Yeah, I'm glad that you were moving your hand, that you were capturing these shades. And obviously we didn't have like a ton of time to just sit and draw. These classes always kind of get me because I'm always like, you know, the mild apprehension of starting a class. And then by the time I'm in it, I'm like, all right, well, I'm having fun now. Why is it? I'm trying to get closer without it cropping. There we go. It also flipped on my screen for whatever reason. It's backward. No, exactly. So this was my final drawing. Let me show you the drawing from right before this. And the shape is what it is. And I do this a lot. So for me, a paper ball, I'm like, okay, I'm having fun with abstraction at that point. So that's what we're getting. But how was that for everybody else? Yeah. I saw Jean just said that you can follow me on YouTube. I primarily post to Instagram at this point. My YouTube, a lot of the things that I do for these classes, those drawings, or they end up private. My bio site is here, so you can find me pretty much anywhere at Shaherzad Bernard, and that's where I post. But I'm really glad that you guys came through and did this drawing class with me. Sorry we weren't able to do it last week, but we just had the time to make it better.
Lesson every month, and these are free to attend. The artist gets we have funding to do these, and
Yeah, I added that one as a little sprinkle. Shading takes some time. That should be its own class.